Hi everybody, Baruch Hashem. Today we're starting a new Sikha. This is Parshas Yisro. This is what Parsha from the Torah is given. It's from the Sikha's talks of Shabbos Parshas Yisro, the 20th of Shevat, 5752. It was translated in English directly from the Yiddish. And as we pointed out, we're learning from the Rauh words. It's a really excellent translation of the last year the Rebbe spoke. And you'll see down below we have a link where you can download the book, but if you want to pay something, it'd be also good to pay because the only source of their income is publishing these books. Whatever you can help, because we're in the process of trying to get a lot more things done. Okay, so we're on page 229, and it's very expensive. This is one of the portions that talks about the Ten Commandments. So chapter 1, the Ten Commandments are written in the Torah twice. First in our Parsha, which is when we're talking about the Torah portion, the Parshas of Yisro. And the second time in the book of Mishnah Torah, Deuteronomy is the last book, Devarim, and the Parshas Veschanan. Now we must understand that the content of the two times it is written in the Torah, that written at different times. Since the Ten Commandments are the essence and foundation of the whole Torah, and included in the whole entire Torah, we must say, the Rebbe is explaining a new thing, that these two times, that the first mention of Ten Commandments in Parshas Yisro, which is the one that we're talking about now in the present book, and the last mention of the Ten Commandments, which is in the Parshas Veschanan, which is later on in Parshas Devarim, when Moshe repeats it, expresses two aspects in the Torah in general. So therefore, the Ten Commandments have to do with the whole Torah. So therefore, that is repeated twice in different times has a special meaning to us. So this is what we're going to learn from how to serve Hashem. The Rebbe is going to explain from seeing the differences and how to bring Moshiach, especially that there are a number of differences between the first utterance, commandments in the Parsha for Yisro, and the last utterance of the Ten Commandments in the Parsha of Veschanan. So the one, this for Yisro is said here, and the other within Parshat Shemos, and the other one is in Exodus, the second book of the 5 books of Moses. The last one is said in the last book of the 5 books of Moses. So it says over there. So therefore, the last utterance in the custom, especially we'll go from the top of the paragraph. Especially that there are a number of differences between the first utterance of the commandments in the Parsha Yisro and the last utterance of the commandments in the Parsha Veschanan. As explained in the expositions of our sages explained it out and the commentaries. There's differences. And additionally, it makes sense to say that the particular differences of the two times are an outcome of the general differences between them. So therefore, there are two different times. So they're cut that these two times there's an outcome of the general difference between them, as we will explain. They're said different times, and this also explains how they mean in service to us. A general and essential we're in chapter 2, page 230. A general and essential difference between the first utterances of the Ten Commandments and the last utterance of the Ten Commandments, also in a simple sense, is that the first utterance of the Ten Commandments, which is Parshas Yisro, are the Holy One, blessed be He, Himself said them at the giving of the Torah. And God spoke all of these words saying, whereas the last utterance of the commandments are the part of the words of Moshe. Moshe repeated them in the 40th year of their travels in the book Mishnah Torah. These are the words that Moshe spoke. In other words, the first 4 books of the Torah, Genesis, Bereshit, Shemos, Exodus, Vayikram, don't know what Leviticus, I think they call it, Numbers, Bar Midbar. These first 4 were all said by Hashem. And Moshe, but the last book of the Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu is speaking, reiterating everything. That's what language is called Mishnah Torah, the repeating of the Torah. So anyway, so the biggest thing the Rebbe is saying now is that one was said straight from Hashem, and the one much repeated. As much repeated in the 40. Okay. Down we're page 232. In addition, and since that the two sets of commandments are part of the eternal Torah, the word Torah comes from the term Horah. So in other words, we must say that something to learn from both of these, something to learn how they were given in different ways, because the Torah is our whole life. And in addition to that, also the Torah has to do with language of Horah. So it's even more so we have to learn something special from this. It's understood that the two forms of the uttering of the Ten Commandments, the word of Hashem himself, the word of Hashem as it was given via Moshe, are found in all matters of Torah and in the service of the Jew. So everything we do, we have these two levels of the first 10 commandments and the second 10 commandments. And every matter that we do in Torah and in the service of the Jew and how we serve Hashem and in the study of Torah and fulfillment of commandments in general. And everything I do for studying and doing Torah through all times. So this is not just the teaching, it's teaching for every generation in all times. Especially according to the words of the sages, we're on page 233, but especially according to the words of the sages, the Torah study must be in a manner that everything that every day the Torah must be new in your eyes. It's got to be brand new. How's this possible? The Rebbe is going to bring the question answer exactly as it was in the first time. Therefore, we say the blessing of the Torah who gives the Torah in the present tense. But since the Torah is supposed to be right new, we're learning Torah right new. This is the first time the Torah is ever given. We're studying learning Torah, so it should be that right now when we're learning Torah, it should be the same time how it was when Torah was given at Mount Sinai. It's the same thing. How? So this is to such an extent, he says, that's why we make the bracha that God is giving us the Torah now. We don't make a bracha, thank God that he gave us the Torah. We make a bracha that God is giving the Torah now to us. But who gives us the Torah now in the present tense? To the extent, and we do this every day, and we do this when we bracha over the Torah in the morning brachos, to the extent that just as then we receive it with awe, that just as then when the Torah was given in Mount Sinai, we received it with fear, awe, trembling, and shaking, so too presently it must be studied with fear, awe, trembling, and shaking. It is understood that these two forms of the utterances of the 10 Commandments must be in the daily service of men. So therefore, we're also receiving now. The Rebbe is going to say, and we must understand what is added with the last utterance of the commandments of Moshe. So first of all, we have to understand what it means that the Torah is given every day. He hasn't explained it. He explained that it's given every day. So therefore, just then it was given. It's also be giving right now. You're going to explain later in more detail about that. We'll understand it much more clearly. Now we must understand what's with the last utterance that Moshe said. So the first one, the Torah was given from Hashem. Everybody was free, was afraid, was awestruck. The second one was given repeated through Moshe. So what is this special? So now we must understand what is added with the last utterance of the 10 Commandments that Moshe said over the first utterance of the 10 Commandments, that the Jewish people heard from the Holy One, blessed be He. So how could there be? Hashem, everybody heard from Hashem. What could be special with Moshe? And we may say the explanation of this. So the Rebbe now, when he says we may say, is like a brand new chiddush, something new, never revealed before, something special for us. That we're the most, as we know that intellect, that richness is it says ein ani ela badas. He says that a person's only poor if he does not smart, and so therefore we had this no one. So there ein ani ela badas is therefore the more we understand and the more we know, and the more we serve God in a great way in all different matters, so therefore we become very rich. So how would you get that? Anyways, I'm not sure why I brought that. Let's go further. And we may say the explanation for this. The Torah has two levels. Torah in its essence is a stored away treasure, which is in your treasury before the world was created, bringing that it is the wisdom and the will of the Holy One, blessed be He, to the extent that the Torah is one with His essence, blessed be He, and the Torah and the Holy One Holy One, blessed be, are completely one. So the Rebbe is saying over here that Hashem, His essence is stored away. Hashem is the Torah's essence is Hashem. It's the special treasures of Hashem that's stored away, and it was here before the world was created. And in this special Torah is Hashem's special will, as Hashem's will and wisdom, and also and to the extent that even Hashem's essence is also in the Torah. It says that the Torah and the Holy One, blessed be, are completely one. That's number one. Number two, the first one's talking about the level of a Torah special from above and it's beyond us. Number two, after the Torah traveled and descended through the hidden levels of Hashem's revelation, level after level, through a gradational descent. In other words, that the Torah came from one level to another down into this world, to a lower level of the spiritual worlds, until it vested itself, until it became clothed in the physical objects and matters of this world, etc. So the Torah came from this high level to travel all the way down to be involved in this and be part of this world. Then, at the giving of the Torah was given to the Jewish people below. It was given specifically on earth, to the extent that the Torah is not in heaven. The Torah Dafka was given in this world, not a higher world. It wasn't given to the angels. It wasn't given to any higher spiritual realms, or any creations in a higher spiritual as God. That was given this world below. If it's so high, why is it given this one? Meaning that the Jewish people's souls and body must study Torah and give decisions in questions of Jewish law based on their intellect and their own understanding, namely, in the combines of the intellect of this world. So in other words, we have to do how we understand things according to our human intellect, and based on that it's limited by this world. In addition, they are to use the Torah and commandments to transform the physical world and make it a dwelling place, blessed be, in the lowest realms. So let's go over this paragraph again. Number 2. After the Torah traveled and descended through the hidden levels of Hashem revelations, level after level through the gradual descent, descending blow up the spiritual worlds until it vested itself, the Torah itself vested itself in physical objects and matters of this world. Then, at the giving of the Torah was given to the Jewish people below, specifically on earth, to the extent that the Torah is not in heaven, meaning that the Jewish people's souls and the body must study Torah and give decisions in questions of the law of Torah based on their intellect and their understanding, namely, in the confines of the intellect of this world. So this is how we must act ourselves and learn Torah according to this. In addition, they are to use, besides to understand, and according to our understanding, our understanding in this, as we're enclosed in our soul in this world, we have to use the Torah and understand how it relates to this world. Also, we have to use, in addition, they're to use the Torah and commandments to transform, not only to see and to work through the world according to the constraints, but to transform the physical world and make it a dwelling place for Him, blessedly, in this lowest realms. So one thing we have to do and act according to the way of the world and see, and not that we understand how the Torah fits in, how that fits into the Torah. We don't fit the Torah into that, how that fits into the Torah. And the second level is that we make a dwelling place. We transform, not only we change this world and make it a very shining, special dwelling place for Hashem to live in. We're in number 4. From these two levels in Torah come about as well 2 aspects that must be in the Torah study of a Jew. So we have the 2 levels of being down in this world and above the world. So number 1, the knowledge and recognitions, and this is how a Jew studies Torah. The knowledge and recognition that the Torah is God's wisdom and will, blessed be He, that transcends all matters of the world, including human intellect, brings about a feeling of self-nullification of a person who studies the Torah. So we're studying this, we understand that this is godliness, this is beyond us. That we're nothing, that the Torah is beyond us, is so great, that to the Holy One, blessed be He, that we studying it, that Hashem, we come totally nullified to Hashem, because He gave us this wonderful Torah. Indeed, that before the Torah study, it is incumbent upon a person to recite the blessing of the Torah. Blessed are you, Hashem, that gave us His Torah, although he doesn't even understand the meaning of the words with regards to the written Torah. So now there's a law that when a Jew is brought up to the Torah, even though he doesn't understand the meaning of the words, he can make a bracha. And he asks, so how's it possible? Because even when a person does understand it, he should understand that he really doesn't, because he's only human intellect. And that the Torah is totally wonderful and beyond him. The main thing is that he should nullify himself to Hashem. This is the first level. That you nullify and you feel like you're nothing before our Kodesh Baruch Hu when you're studying His great Torah. Furthermore, his nullification must be to an extent that he does not feel himself as an existence for himself. In other words, not only that he doesn't even feel he exists, rather, what's this mean? His whole existence is in order to express the word of Hashem, which the Torah consists of. The whole reason I'm here is, as it says, that I'm here right now speaking, giving Torah on the internet to the whole world, Mitzvah Hashem. And this that I'm speaking is not me speaking, it's just I'm speaking, I'm telling what God's telling me to do. I don't have an existence myself, that's what it's saying. And that what the Torah consists, as it says, okay, let's go. Furthermore, from top, furthermore, his self-nullification must be to the extent that he does not feel himself an existence for himself. Rather, his whole existence is in order to express the word of Hashem, which the Torah consists of, as it says, my tongue shall reiterate your words. It's a saying in Tehillim that my tongue should reiterate your words, meaning that the Torah is your words. Only that my tongue should reiterate them as one repeats them after another, what the other said. Now, I'm just telling what Hashem said to me. I'm just repeating the words. This means that in addition to the phenomenon that everyone reads and learns, the Holy One Blessed be, reads and learns Abba to him. So there's a thing that there's known that what we do, we cause, so to speak, God to do. It's the same thing. When I'm learning Torah, so God is learning Torah. That his reading and learning of Torah causes, so to say, the reading and learning of a Kodesh Baruch blessed be He. So one thing, I'm causing Hashem to do the same thing. I'm bringing out from Hashem this level. Behold, moreover, the utterance of a person is the utterance of the Holy One. But this is not only that I'm causing Hashem to say, but what I'm saying is really just Hashem is saying it. Blessed be. In the manner that we say this in the highest prayer that we say 3 times a day in the standing Amida, we said, Hashem said, and Hashem should open my lips and my mouth shall utter praises. In other words, I'm totally nullified before Hashem, and what I'm saying now is not for me, that you were saying it through me. My words which I have placed in your mouth. Similarly, the phenomena of the divine presence spoke through his throat. It said by Moshiach Rabbeinu that the divine presence spoke through his throat. So therefore, I don't exist. My whole existence is that I'm just repeating what you tell me to do. I have none of myself in it. For this reason, the sages say, just as then when we receive the Torah with awe, fear, trembling, and shaking, so too presently it must be studied with fear, awe, trembling, and shaking. For seemingly the comparison of just as then, so too presently is not understood. Why? In the view of the fact that the event on Mount Sinai, it is written, all the nations beheld the voices, and the face Hashem spoke, which is not how it is when one studies Torah alone. You don't see God speaking and everybody hearing voices. The great revelations that we read was that when the 10 Commandments happened. Since also the Torah study of every person and at every time is literally the word of Hashem. So exactly, I'm saying Mamash, God's words is speaking through me. It's literally which was said to Moshe at Sinai. God spoke all of these words saying. So everything that we're saying now is they've spoken to Moshe. And through and contemplating on this, and when a person thinks that right now God is speaking through me, and you think about this, then you come to a level of awe and fear will fall upon him, as if he received the Torah from Mount Sinai. So it's an amazing thing. The Rebbe is saying this is actuality, that when we're saying that today when we're learning Torah, we learn the Torah at this level, that Hashem is speaking through us. And that's the reason we make a bracha. Otherwise, if that's not true, if we can't be in a level of fear and everything, how could we be making a bracha on the Torah? It's new every day. Because Hashem is speaking right through me. That level that was new by Mount Torah, that the Jews were afraid because they saw Hashem, that's speaking through us. Number 2, we're now on page 236. So this is the level from above that Hashem brings down nullification to us. The knowledge that the Torah was given below on earth, specifically to him as a soul and a body, gives a Jew the realization that there must be the existence of a person who shall study Torah and put forth in an understanding the Torah with which he learns with his intellect, until in a manner that the Torah of Hashem, which is called Torah of Hashem, is called by his name. Namely, the person that studies it, his Torah, since he toiled to understand it. Indeed, Torah is his possession, which therefore, when a rabbi forgives his honor is forgiven, meaning to say that he becomes the owner, so to say, of the Torah. So another Rebbe is talking about here that when a person studies Torah to such a degree that he understands it and brings it down into his life, and even though it's Torah Hashem, but it becomes his Torah. So he says, well, how does it begin? We see that it says that if a Talmid Chacham, why do you have to honor a Talmid Chacham? Because he has Hashem's Torah. He's full of Hashem's Torah. So therefore, it would say that if that Talmid Chacham, since it's Hashem's Torah, he cannot forgive his honor, because his honor is the Torah for God. But since the Torah becomes his and part of his, So he becomes like the balabas, the owner of the Torah. It's his Torah. So therefore he can give somebody something against him, because it's his. It comes to such a level. That's what we're talking about. Let's read this over again. Number 2. The knowledge that the Torah was given below on earth, especially to him as a soul and a body, gives the Jew the realization that there must be the existence of a person who shall study the Torah and put forth effort in understanding the Torah, which he learns with his intellect, until in a manner that the Torah of Hashem, which is called Torah of Hashem, to emphasize the words Hashem, God's Torah, is called by his name. It's his Torah. It's called his Torah. Namely, that the person that studies it, his Torah, since he taught and understood it indeed, that the Torah is his portion, which therefore the Rebbe that forgoes his honor is forgone, meaning to say that he becomes the owner of the Torah, so to say. It's interesting, we just had I think on Kabbalah.org, I saw that the Rebbe was talking about when is it that a person has to say, and it says that when you say Torah, you're supposed to be B'Shem Omram, and we see that many of the Rebbes and many people that they didn't say B'Shem Omram, because it says, when you take the Torah, it becomes part of you, it's you're saying it. When you study Mamish, it becomes part of you. That's why we see that many of the great Rebbeim and stuff, they didn't have Mamish, they didn't point out everything that was said by other people, because it became part of them. Now, what time is it? What are we holding by time? What time is it? Well, 21, okay. So we go, good, we can go another one. Okay, Jis says we're number 5, 237. Jis says there are 2 aspects in Torah study. Similarly, this is also expressed in the two components of the objective of the giving of the Torah commandments below. So there are 2 aspects in Torah study, one of that we were nothing before Hashem, and the other one becomes part of us. These 2 components, the objective of giving the Torah below, namely, why do we do this? Why do we have the Torah below? Namely, to make a dwelling place for him, blessed be in the lowest realms, which is accomplished through Torah and fulfillment of mitzvahs. So by serving God and being totally nullified to him, and by preserving God, that godliness becomes part of us, the Torah becomes part of us down in this world, by using both levels, we make a dwelling place for Hashem, as the Rebbe will explain. Dvar Malchus should explain right now. So we're page 237. 1. The completeness of the revelation of godliness, namely that the dwelling place, should be a dwelling for him, blessed be he, for which we must have Torah, the Torah and the Holy One, blessed be. In other words, the dwelling place for it has to be a place for God. And so therefore we have to have Torah of God, because Torah and the Holy One, blessed be, are one, are complete one entity. So therefore we have the Torah. So through having the Torah, it's like we have God with us, because it's one with God, and therefore we can make a dwelling place below, which accomplishes the drawing forth and the revelation of his essence, blessed be. That through Torah, doing Torah and mitzvahs, we are able to bring down the essence of God down into the world. 2. This great revelation being revealed in the confines of the lowest realms, namely that the dwelling place should be an entity for the lowest realms, and a Jew, a soul and a body, finds himself together with the Torah which descended below in the lowest realms, and conduct himself according to the definitions and the customs of the lowest realms, in order to make in the lowest realms, as they remain in their confines and characteristic dwelling place for Hashem, blessed be he, through utilizing definitions and customs themselves in accordance with the instruction of the Torah, to make a dwelling place for Hashem. Basically, we're going to go over this, but the Rebbe is explaining here that you go according to the way of the world, and according to the laws and the customs, and you use these according to Torah, of course. And through using these according to Torah, you elevate them, and they're all being used to make a dwelling place for Hashem. So let's go over this again. Number 2, this great revelation being revealed in the confines of the lowest realms, namely that the dwelling place should be an entity in the lowest realms, that there should be in this lower world the dwelling place for Hashem, and a Jew, a soul and body, finds himself together with Torah which descended below. So here, I'm down here, and God has given me this beautiful Torah that I have, and I'm in the lowest realms, and conduct themselves according to the definite custom of the lowest realms, and have to call according to the way of the land, in order to make the lowest realms as they remain in their confines and characteristics. In other words, you have to do it that according to the ways of the world, and dwelling for him, They should make a dwelling for him, blessed be he, through the utilizing the definitions and customs themselves
There's a parking, that's 2 parking spots, it's only allowed 1.
in accordance with the instruction of
Come
Torah,
on, have some respect.
to make a dwelling place for Hashem.
Your temporary residence. Your temporary residence. Alright? Yes, I live here.
So, anyway.
This time I had to come and ask you guys to move. You're this far.
Okay, let's go over this again. I don't know. Okay, guys, there's some fights from the neighbors out there. Anyways, okay. So this great revelation being revealed in the confines of the lowest realms, namely, that the dwelling place should be an entity of the lowest realms, and a Jew, a soul in the body, finds himself together with Torah, which descended below in the lowest realms, and conduct themselves according to the definition and custom of the lowest realms, in order to make in the lowest realms, as they remain in their confines and characteristics, dwelling place of Hashem, blessed be, through the utilization, definitions, and customs themselves, in accordance with the instructions of the Torah, to make a dwelling place before Hashem. As with, and it's how much time we get? As is with the dwelling place?
25.
Oh, okay, we finished. So we take the Torah and use the Torah and all the craziness is around us, and we use it, and then we do according to Torah and mitzvahs, and we make this world a dwelling place for Hashem, according to the ways of the world. And with this, the dwelling place, in a simple sense, in order to make a dwelling place in a specific place with the specific things in lowest realms, there must be the concept that as you go to the place, not only you have to go there, and furthermore, act according to its customs. You have to become a citizen there. And one must go and settle in that place, and go to the top place. And furthermore, in a matter of investment, acting according to its customs. You have to act how you do. Not only do you go there and you live there, but you live according to how the people do, to conduct oneself in accordance to the way of life and customs of that place. Specifically, that it is possible for him to settle in that place in a manner that it will become his dwelling place. Now, he dwells there. This is where I live. My whole being is here. Through utilizing the way of life and customs of the place to make a dwelling place, i.e., make it bigger and nicer. In other words, I go according to everything here, and I take everything that's around me to make the place more beautiful, to make my house more beautiful. Whereas if he finds himself in a second place, or even in this place, however, not in a manner that he's acting according to its customs, I'm not living like a native here, he cannot have a dwelling place there. It's not really a place to live. I'm just like a visitor. So therefore, you have to go according to how the ways of the world, and everything. I live in Los Angeles, whatever customs there are in business and everything, and go according to how people do here. But I do this when I elevate it because I'm making this place a dwelling place for Hashem. Similarly, an analogy. In order to make a dwelling place in lowest realms, a Jew cannot remain a soul above. Rather, he, together with the soul, must descend into the place and the situation of the lowest realms and conduct himself there according to the way of life and the customs of the place, the Torah, the lowest realms, in accordance with the instructions of the Torah, and utilizing the customs, etc., themselves to making a dwelling place for himself, blessed be he. In other words, we have to use everything and according to the Torah, but the world, we have to act according to the way in the world, but we have to do according to the Torah to make it a dwelling place. Now we're on number 6, and we may say that the power to accomplish the two aspects, both of Torah study and also the service in making the dwelling place in the lowest realms, comes from the two types of sets of commandments. So this comes from the commandments. The first, the utterances of the commandments, and God spoke all these words, give to the Jewish people the power that regarding the entire Torah, they shall have the self-nullification when the Torah Hashem spoke to us, become totally nullified. To the word of Hashem which speaks via their mouth, I should be totally nullified now, and that it be only like one who repeats after one saying. As explained, the understanding of the words, of the word. And God spoke all of these words saying, for similarly, the word saying is not understood, since it is not like the other mention of the word saying in scriptures, which means to say, repeat it to others. Whereas regarding the 10 Commandments, it cannot be understood that since all Jews heard the word of Hashem face to face, both those that are present, those that are not present, so everybody hears. So why is Hashem saying to somebody else? At the event in Mount Sinai, all the souls of the Jews, all of us were there, and were present, even the souls of the converts to Judaism. The only understanding of the word saying in our case is that through the phenomenon of God spoke all of these words saying, he gave the power to the Jewish people throughout the generations to study the Torah of any of the, that their study of any of the words of Torah, which are included, all of these words, then when studied, which are included in all of these words, any words of the Torah is included in all of these words, shall be in a manner of saying, repeating that was already said. So we're just repeating. This means that a Jew says not his own words, rather literally the word of Hashem that was said to Moshe at Mount Sinai. My son shall reiterate your words. In other words, saying means when I'm saying Torah, I'm just repeating. My tongue is repeating what was said at Mount Sinai. On the other hand, the last utterances of the commandment, which were repeated and said by Moshe, that the intermediate, which can, in other words, when Moshe said the commandments the last time in PARASHAT Kanan, which connects Hashem and you, the Jewish people, being that Hashem being that He's a godly man, a soul and a body, that's a Jewish person, given the power that a Jew, as a soul and body, may have the power, especially through the aspects of Moshe within him, the special aspect to have the ability to study Torah with the understanding and comprehension of a Jew's intellect below. Similarly, we see from this so therefore the second level is that where our God sinks all in our physical body. So not only are we just repeating it, but we have another level we understand it. Similarly, we see from this, i.e. the two aspects of both sets of the commandments, the power to make a dwelling place for Him, blessed be, in the lowest realms, both regarding the Jew himself, that has known that the main concept of making dwelling place in the lowest realms it begins with the Jewish people. So the main thing is that Hashem should dwell below with us, to dwell and reside in the souls of Jewish people. That Knesset Yisrael, which means all the Jewish people, should be the place of the abode of blessed be, that Hashem should dwell among us. For since the Jewish people and the Holy One, blessed be, are completely one, behold, the Jewish people are truly the dwelling place for His essence, because we are mamish one with God in His essence. Blessed be. Since they are, so to say, one thing with God's essence, blessed be. That only that this is revealed through their service in the lowest realms, to the extent that from this is drawn forth the power to make a dwelling place in the lowest realms in the world as well. So in other words, that for us, we are brought down in the lowest of all realms. Then in this world we can bring it down because God is brought down and revealed through us, through our avodah. We see in our physical body that we're tied in one with God. Zaygoson to everybody. Hopefully we'll continue tomorrow. It's even get more exciting now about how special we are and what levels we are and how we're mamish, we're one with God. So now right now we discuss how we're mamish, we're just repeating. Right now I'm just repeating God. And on another level, as I understand, it becomes part of me, because godliness becomes part of me. And so by both ways, because of both of these levels, we can make a special dwelling place for Hashem and bring the Geula Shleima right away. Bye, everybody.